Hello, my name is Jonas Clementovicius. I'm going to do a presentation on Bill Brandt, a German-British photographer of the early 1900s. I will be going over artist biography, artist styles, inspirations and influences, photographic work from the documentary to portraiture and landscapes, as well as the nude, and his impact on photography as a whole. He was born on May 2, 1904, and died on December 20th, 1983. He was born to a wealthy family of mixed German and British heritage. He was diagnosed with tuberculosis in youth and spent time in a sanatorium in Davos, Switzerland. In the late 1920s, he moved to Vienna and then to Paris, where he met and was influenced by Man Ray and the Surrealists. He began taking photographs in Paris under Man Ray's mentorship, experimenting with surreal and abstract styles. Brandt settled in London in 1934 and adopted British identity. He became known for social documentary photography, capturing working-class life in Britain during the 1930s and World War II. In 1940s to 50s, he shifted toward portraiture, landscapes, and experimental nudes, using wide-angle lenses and dramatic contrasts. His photographic style included high-contrast black and white photography that blends realism with psychological and artistic depth. Frequent use of wide-angled and distortion lenses to alter perspective, especially in his later nudes and portraits. He also used emphasis on geometry, texture, and shadow, turning everyday scenes into expressive compositions. He was known for social documentary during the Great Depression and World War II, his portraits of artists and intellectuals, and his atmospheric landscapes of Britain. His inspirations and influences include Man Ray, who was a mentor in surrealism and experimental darkroom techniques. Surrealism inspired his use of dreamlike distortion, shadow play, and symbolic compositions. Eugene Auger and August Sander influenced Brandt's documentary traditions. His 1930s work in Britain focused on social class divisions, capturing upper-class drawing rooms and working-class coal miners with equal attention. German Expressionism and early 20th century modernism shaped his aesthetic, where he used shadows and spatial distortion to evoke unease or introspection. His photographic works include the documentary, portraiture and landscapes, and the nude. A Snicket in Halifax, 1937, Brandt uses compositional lighting and framing to create an almost metaphorical image suggesting isolation, poverty, and resilience. The photograph expresses Brandt's poetic vision by not just showing what Halifax looked like, but how it felt to live there, oppressive, cold, and closed in. The Coal Searcher Going Home to Jarrow, 1937, Brandt's visual choices, such as deep shadows, evocative framing, and sparse environment, reflect his background in European avant-garde photography. This adds a layer of psychological intensity. Francis Bacon on Primrose Hill of London, 1963. The image isn't surreal in a literal sense, but its emotional tone and eerie abstraction of space reflect Brandt's surrealist influences, especially from his early association with Man Ray. Harold Piner, Battersea, London, 1963. The urban industrial backdrop isn't incidental. It reflects the emotional landscapes of Piner's plays, gritty, ambiguous, and quietly threatening. The surroundings function as a visual metaphor for the playwright's themes of power, silence, and unease. London 1954 collection. Brandt's mastery of high-contrast black and white photography gave his nudes a sculptural and timeless quality. Light wasn't used simply to illuminate, but to carve the body into abstraction, emphasizing texture, curve, and volume. Brandt's impact on photography. He pioneered blending documentary and surrealism. Brandt was one of the first photographers to document class inequality in Britain with artistic depth. He redefined the nude, not as sensual but as sculptural, surreal, and landscape-like, inspiring later photographers to treat the body as an artistic and conceptual form. At a time when photography was still fighting for recognition as an art form, Brandt's sophisticated use of composition, tone, and metaphor helped legitimize photography in museums and galleries. Photography is not a sport. It has no rules. Everything must be dared and tried. Bill Brandt. Thank you for listening to my presentation on Bill Brandt.